Welcome back to The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell. Over the years, my reporting has taken down a corrupt district attorney and forced a sitting U.S. congressman to resign. But this episode is without a doubt the most important that I have ever produced, and I would be grateful if you could spare a few minutes to listen to what I have to say. I'm going to tell you about my plan to see that justice is afforded to the Bundy family, others who came to the Bundy Ranch in 2014 to support them, and especially my friend and fellow journalist Pete Santilli. Pete and the Bundys have been held in maximum security federal custody since the day the occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge came to an end with the violent killing of Robert Lavoy Finicum and the arrest of members of the Bundy family and their supporters. I've been watching what's been going on in the kangaroo court presided over by Judge Gloria Navarro in Nevada. She was nominated to the bench by Dirty Harry Reid, and all I can see is a political appointee trying to cover the ass of her benefactor, a man who sold off bits of Nevada to foreign investors piecemeal. Judge Navarro is lording over her courtroom like it's her own little fiefdom, treating defendants as serfs, whose rights are solely dependent on her whims and mercy, even insisting that these nonviolent men be brought before her in chains, directly contravening a Ninth Circuit Court ruling that the practice should only be used in the most extreme cases. I don't see anything resembling justice coming out of Nevada, and in 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you what I intend to do and what you can do to help.
I'm Pete Santilli, and you're watching The Truth is Viral.
Okay, first off, I've got to apologize. I've been slacking off the last couple of years just when Pete needed me the most. My wife's death on August 5th, 2015 was devastating to my whole family. And going through the various stages of grief has taken a lot of effort and it's taken a lot of time. But we've all emerged the stronger for it. As difficult as dealing with his mom's death was on our youngest son, Adam, he soldiered on through his last 2 years of high school and received his diploma just days ago. I'm extremely proud of Adam, as I am all my children, for staying the course during the most traumatic event our family has ever experienced. And I want to thank my viewers for all the sympathy that they've expressed as well. It really helped us through a very difficult time. But now that most of my responsibilities as a parent and head of household have been significantly diminished, I hope and pray that I am going to be able to get back to work, speaking truth to power, and supporting the ideals that made the United States the greatest nation that this world has ever seen. All I've ever asked for as the publisher and editor-in-chief of The Truth is Viral is that those who've been elected to positions of power, those who make and enforce our laws, be held to answer to those same laws. A codified body of laws is one of the pillars of freedom upon which our republic rests. Laws that protect the rights of everyone. Laws that ensure that every American citizen is treated equally before the law. When those laws are undermined, twisted, and broken by the very people entrusted to enact and enforce them, men and women of goodwill must take extraordinary measures to hold them to account. Pete and the Bundys have been held in federal custody now for the last 17 months, without the possibility of bail. Accused murderers get bail. The recently indicted FBI agent who shot at Lavoy Finicum and then lied about it to Oregon State investigators was allowed a pretrial release. And I've seen no mention of any bail amount anywhere. So he was probably let go on his own recognizance, even though he broke his policy and training by taking an illegal shot and then lying about it. But peaceful ranchers who were defending the home that's been in their family for well over 100 years and the reporter who went to tell their story are deemed too dangerous to be allowed to go free until trial. They all have ties to the community. They don't present a risk to the public, and they're not flight risks either. And they haven't been convicted of anything, yet they're being treated as though they committed mass murder after pledging their allegiance to ISIS. Continuing to deny them bail in Nevada, even after the charges against Pete were dropped the day before the trial began and the Bundys were found not guilty in Oregon, is simply a method of punishing these men before trial, a way of sending a message to others: don't you dare stand up to the United States government. In a country where we all grew up hearing the phrase innocent until proven guilty, denying bail to people who want more than anything to clear their names in court is simply despotic, and that was only the beginning of their unconscionable persecution. Judge Gloria Navarro has forbidden the defense to mention that Bureau of Land Management Special Agent in Charge Daniel P. Love, the man who was coordinating the BLM response at the Bundy Ranch in 2014, has been suspended from the BLM pending further criminal charges. According to a report by the Office of the Inspector General, Love was found guilty of violating ethical rules and official misconduct after using his position to garner personal perks and threaten co-workers. Former Special Agent in Charge Love is currently under investigation for interfering in a congressional investigation. It was under Love's direction that the Bundy family was originally assaulted by federal agents, an attack that was captured on video by Pete Santilli. It was Love who ordered snipers into the hills around the Bundy Ranch at the very beginning of the operation, who ordered militarized BLM agents who had no arrest authority to threaten the Bundys and others with violence, eventually attacking them on a lonely stretch of highway with tasers and dogs. It was Love who came up with the idea of a First Amendment area miles away from where the abuses were taking place, and it was Love who ignored the lawful orders of the local sheriff and his superiors in the federal chain of command to stand down the day before the final push to free Bundy's cattle became immortalized in the media and in the hearts of patriots all over the nation. Had Love followed his orders, there never would have been a standoff in the first place. But according to Judge Navarro, Love doesn't exist. The defendants are forbidden to mention the name of the one person most immediately responsible for the federal injustice that took place at the Bundy Ranch in 2014, as well as the cover-ups and lies that have followed all the way through the first Bundy trial in Nevada earlier this year. Amid accusations of mistreatment and torture by the guards at the federal facility where they're being kept, Pete Santilli and the Bundys have been awaiting trial in federal custody for the last 17 months, a clear violation of their Sixth Amendment right to a speedy trial. The Sixth Amendment states, "In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense." Judge Navarro has violated the Sixth Amendment on several counts, and other amendments as well, during the legal proceedings in Clark County, including denying them a speedy trial, the concept of which was reaffirmed in 1974 with the appropriately named Speedy Trial Act. That act states that trials must commence within 70 days from the date information or indictment was filed, or from the date that the defendant appears before an officer of the court in which the charge is pending, whichever is later. That's 18 U.S.C. 3161. As of today, Peter T. Santilli and the Bundys and everybody else that was arrested for their participation in what happened at the Bundy Ranch in 2014 have had no opportunity to post bail for 516 days. That is beyond obscene, and I'm not going to remain silent any longer. The phrase that defines the United States Marine Corps for guys like me and Pete, Semper Fidelis, is not just a cute little motto. Not for us. For us, always faithful is a way of life. As a United States Marine, I swore to defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and that oath has no expiration date. And the way I see it, due to her blatant disregard for the Constitution and the rights of the accused in her court, I must conclude that Judge Gloria Navarro is an enemy of the people of the United States of America. Judge Navarro needs to remember that Harry Reid can no longer protect her. Loretta Lynch is not in a position to help her, and Hillary Clinton is not her president. She's vulnerable now, vulnerable and exposed. But what can I do to make sure that justice is served in a jurisdiction where the very concept appears to be foreign? My options are extremely limited because, unlike Judge Navarro, I actually live by the laws of the United States and the laws of Almighty God, which forbid me from using offensive violence. I have no money to speak of that I could use to bring attention to Navarro's bias and criminality, and I have no political power to use as leverage to influence someone empowered to disbar her from the bench that she has disgraced to do just that. I have only three things to bring to this fight for justice: the truth, lips with which to voice it, and my life. The same Bible that tells me thou shalt not murder also tells me greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Pete Santilli is my friend, my Marine brother, and I love him and his producer and soulmate Deb Jordan with all of my heart. When my wife died, and my youngest son and I were suffering tremendous grief, Pete and Deb took us into their home and did their best to help us through it. Pete had me co-host a show with him, and for a few days I was able to do normal stuff without having to worry about being the strong one in charge of planning everything from nursing my wife to planning her funeral. The stress of those last few weeks was tremendous, and I really needed somebody else to drive for a while. My brother Pete took the wheel, and I was able to get some of that much needed psychological and emotional rest that I really did need. And for that, I owe him my life, and I will do everything that I can to see to it that he's freed. To that end, I have decided to seek justice for Pete and the Bundys by moving on two fronts at once to ensure that they receive the fair trial they deserve as American citizens. Having proven her callous bias and willingness to break the law in order to protect her benefactor Harry Reid, it is obvious to me that achieving this goal is impossible as long as Judge Gloria Navarro remains on the bench overseeing their trial. So, she must be removed. As I stated earlier, I believe in the laws of the United States and in due process. I also believe that most of the men and women who have chosen the law as their profession are honorable people, and that they're just as disgusted at the corruption that has infected our judicial system as I am. Whether they work as legislators, law enforcement officers, or officers of the court, I intend to enlist them as allies in this fight for justice. I understand that they might be scared of retaliation at work, possibly even fearful for their own personal safety. But that's not important. Honor is important, and I'm going to appeal to their sense of honor and justice at this very moment to help me remove an unfit jurist from the bench. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to appeal to their greed. I have no money filling my pockets, but I do have equity in my home. And if anyone can provide me with evidence of criminal wrongdoing on the part of Judge Navarro, I will take out a second mortgage and pay them $10,000. That evidence could come in the form of an email proving collusion between her and Harry Reid. It might be a backroom deal involving official corruption on this or any other case. It might be a breach of ethics that will get her disbarred or thrown into her own prison. I don't care where it comes from. All I care is that the information is authentic. Let me rephrase that statement for the sake of clarity. I will pay $10,000 to anyone who can provide me with evidence that is admissible in a court of law that leads to the disbarment or criminal conviction of Judge Gloria Navarro. I realize that even if we get this process rolling right ahead, that the wheels of justice turn very slowly. Too slowly for this course of action to benefit Pete or the Bundys before their trial begins. And that is the reason for the second front. A more drastic form of action is called for if the accused in this case are to receive justice.
I'm Pete Santilli, and you're watching The Truth is Viral.
Do not click away. We'll be back with more in just a moment.
I've thought very long and hard about the various forms of nonviolent protest available to me, and I've decided to look to Mahatma Gandhi for inspiration. Gandhi proved that the actions of one man can literally change the world, and if one were looking for a better example of successful nonviolent protest, one might be sorely disappointed. Gandhi's tactics showcased the brutality of British rule in India. It took several years, but through nonviolent means he basically shamed the crown into granting Indian independence. After the British protectorate was divided into two countries, India and Pakistan, religious violence broke out between Sikhs, Hindus, and Muslims, killing 500,000 and threatening the subcontinent with an all-out civil war.
Bundy's fast has brought nearer than it has ever been the prospect of Hindu-Muslim enmity. For 5 days, Mr. Gandhi denied himself all food in expiation of the violence that has marred the early history of two new dominions. The reverence of all Indian races for the Hindu Mahatma has brought about the reconciliation he sought. The crowds at Delhi are overjoyed at his decision to break his fast. He is satisfied that Hindu India, Muslim Pakistan are now in harmony.
Again, by employing non-violent means, Gandhi shamed the factions into complying with his demands for peace. I believe in the United States, a land founded on the ideal that all men are created equal, and I believe that everyone, regardless of sex, race, religious beliefs, political affiliation, sexual orientation, or social status, should be treated equally under the law. Through her actions and rulings, I have watched Judge Navarro display a total disregard of the law, violating the rights of Pete Santilli and the Bundys as if she were royalty, dispensing her own personal brand of justice to her vassals. The Constitution be damned. I will no longer sit by silently while she makes a mockery out of our Article 3 courts in order to pursue her own agenda. And so, my friends, I've taken a page out of Gandhi's playbook, and I have started to fast and pray for the Bundys, their supporters, my brother Pete Santilli, and for divine intervention on their behalf. I will continue to fast until Judge Navarro either recuses herself or is removed from the Bundy case by a higher authority. Many will ask why I've decided to take such a drastic step. In all honesty, if Pete wasn't being held as a political prisoner, I probably wouldn't. See, I've never met the Bundys. I've never spoken to them on the telephone or exchanged emails with them. They seem like nice people, but I don't know anything about the Bundy family except for what I've read and watched in the news. I'm doing this for Pete, my brother from another mother, and for Deb Jordan too, because they're my friends, and I love them. I'm not calling this a hunger strike for one very simple reason. I don't intend to be hungry. When Jesus Christ fasted in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, the devil came to him when he was at his weakest. Instead of commanding a rock to turn into bread as the devil had tempted him to do, Christ simply replied, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God." So for the foreseeable future, I will be nourished by prayer and the Word of God alone. So that's what I'm going to do. But what can you do? Well, you can start by sending this video to Secretary of the Interior Ryan Zinke, Attorney General Jeff Sessions, your senators, your representatives in Congress, your local newspapers and television stations, and President Donald Trump by every means available. Send it to their email addresses, post it on their Facebook walls, and tweet it to them until enough outrage has been generated over this miscarriage of justice that an investigation into the conduct of Judge Navarro is initiated and a truly impartial judge is seated to oversee the trial. Or the charges are dropped altogether and the prisoners are freed with the apologies of the government and a big fat check. You can help bring attention to the plight of these political prisoners by making this video go viral on social media. Don't just put it on your own Facebook wall, put it in every group to which you belong and tag all of your friends. Share it on Twitter, on Google+, on Pinterest, and all the forums that you visit. If you click the share button below this video, a window opens up that allows you to share it to 10 different social media platforms with a click of your mouse. Surely that's not too much to ask. You can also go to bobpowell.blogspot.com and donate via PayPal so that I can afford to travel to Nevada for the trial. Over the past couple of months, YouTube and Google have demonetized nearly all 300 episodes of The Truth is Viral that I've published since 2008. Last month I made a little over $10 from ad revenue. Nobody's watching their fake news anymore, and the elite have determined that they will silence independent media voices like mine by starving us out of business and burying our content in internet searches. Now more than ever, your support and financial assistance are absolutely crucial towards supporting my mission to save lives and win souls for Jesus Christ in these very last days. So please go to bobpowell.blogspot.com and donate whatever won't put you out towards that goal. You can use a credit card to make a one-time donation, subscribe to The Truth is Viral to make a monthly donation, or you can send check or money order to Bobby Powell and The Truth is Viral at Post Office Box 91, Alpena, Michigan 49707. If you would like to join me as I fast and pray for the political prisoners that are being unjustly held due to their participation in the events at the Bundy Ranch, please let me know in the comments below and we'll pray together. Almighty God is our high tower and our defender, and with His help, there's nothing that can't be accomplished. Now, in the last 20 seconds of this video, there's going to be links to two other videos that I want you to watch. Please share those as well. Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral. My name is Bob Powell, and as always, God bless. Semper Fi. Hoorah.
Thank you for watching The Truth is Viral with your host, Bobby Powell. Make sure to follow The Apocalypse on Twitter at The Truth is Viral. Like The Truth is Viral on Facebook, and if you can, please remember to donate to the cause via PayPal at www.bobpowell.blogspot.com.